He's back!
Hey, all you rebels out there, welcome back to Crack Dice Gaming. Chicky D here, and today we have a very special video. I've been getting hundreds of DMs, hundreds of comments, hundreds of messages on Discord asking for a Han Solo 2 video. That was a joke, but it's here. I got a video here talking to you about new Han Solo, Han 2, as I'm going to call him, so you can see how to Han 2. And I'm kind of the Han guy in town. That's kind of my thing. It's kind of my shtick. If you remember back in early set one, tournament play, I guess, sort of after the set release, the first few events, there was some goober playing old Superlaser Tech in Han Solo, the yellow one. That was me. I'll take credit for that one. And as you can see, Superlaser Tech is on the thumbnail of the video. Superlaser Tech is right there. And we're going to get into it. So first, let's talk about why I think Han is probably S tier. I've had some time to play around with him, experiment with some different shells, and play him against some different leaders. And three things that I've realized that make him super good just straight off the bat. First is his universal ability that gives you play into every single hero, every single deck, every single archetype. Playing a unit for one less is simply just good. Even if you have to do the 2 damage to it, there's workarounds that you can sort of mitigate that 2 damage or just sort of make it obsolete to where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter a whole lot. So there's some leaders in Star Wars Unlimited that their abilities aren't necessarily universal. They don't give you play into every deck. For example, Boba Fett, the one from Spark Rebellion, the first one, he is not that great into control because his ability relies on your opponents playing units and then you being able to then kill those units. So he's someone that doesn't sort of have a universal ability. Same thing with the new Jabba that was just spoiled the other day. Your opponent has to have played a unit. Look at Luke Skywalker. You A, have to have a resource, and B, have to have played a heroism unit. And then you also have to hope it doesn't get killed so you can shield it, right? So his ability it's always going to be there. And secondly, the lack of reliance on his flip. His ability on his front side and his back side are the same, except you can continue to do it on his flip side. If you look at a leader like, I don't know, Han 1, he's pretty reliant on that flip, or at least a lot of shells of him are reliant on that flip, being able to flip and then attack with him and use that ability. Cards like No Good to Me Dead and pretty much anything that either exhausts or one-shots him, or even like a Force Lightning getting rid of his ability, sort of kind of neutered that Han and made it so you can't play that way, and so you're kind of uh, you know, not playing as good. But this Han, he doesn't have that issue. And thirdly, sorry, excuse me, is the Red Hero ECL combo. There's some great things you can do with the Red Hero and ECL, and we're gonna get into that. So let's look at the 60 that I came up with. You see, some of the good cards. It's pretty much just a good cards deck when you think about it. Go to early plays like Battlefield Marine and A-Wing. Mercenary Gunship's in there. I'm not sure how great it's going to be. I've liked it in my testing. It's obviously great against A-Wings. It's just an A-Wing killer. It's a great sort of unit to play there in space. It's the downside of your opponent being able to play 4 and steal it. It doesn't really come into play a whole often, I suppose. Maybe if it, I don't know, it's never come into play. Viper's good, disabling Fang Fighter. Obviously a good card in sort of what's going to be more than likely a more upgrade-dependent meta. And Infiltrator skill, which I love, one of my favorite cards. And then, K2SO, Poe, Black One's in there, U-Wing, just a bunch of good cards. Spec Forces in the sideboard, get rid of the Sentinel. It's great. And of course, playing Han on ECL, in case you haven't yet taken note of that. And so let's go to what I think is probably the best turn 1 play in the game, and that's Cobb Vanth with Han's ability. You can play him for 2, and then he dies right away, and you get to search the top 10 cards of your deck. Discard one of those cards that costs 2 or less. A unit, I guess, not just a card. You can't play an event, right? I discard it, and then you can play it for free for the rest of that phase. And so that's really good because it's essentially another 2-drop that you can play on turn 1. And where it becomes really good is when you realize that you get to search the top 10 cards of your deck and see what's not going to be coming. So you get to essentially bench your deck, which is really good, I've realized. So you could sort of guarantee I sent 2 of these to the bottom. Well, they're not going to be coming, right? It's obviously sort of slow. Your opponent's probably going to get the initiative back because you got to do Cobb Vanth and then play from the discard. Unless they're a deck that plays 2/1 drops or whatever, or something like that. And then you just search your top 10 cards and play either Battlefield Marine, Green Squadron A-Wing, Mercenary Gunship, or a double out of aspect Bazine Natal. She is free with the user with Cobb Vance ability. And maybe that's a great play if you want to play Bazine, but really you're trying to go for Marine, A-Wing, or Gunship, and then get that added benefit of taking note of the cards that are going to go to the bottom of your deck and then play accordingly. I think he's a really maybe the best turn one. Obviously, he's slower. It takes 2 actions to do it. But just being able to see your cards and see the information that you get is just absolutely amazing and really powerful in the games I played. And if you don't draw Cobb Vanth, we'll just play one of these 2 drops. Play a Marine, play A-Wing, a Gunship. Reckless Gunslinger's also in the deck. So if you have to play her turn 1, you can. You really just kind of want to smuggle her and have her in your resource row in case you need her. And that's turn 1. Let's go to turn 2. Not as fun, I guess, but yeah, you just have your basic cards like Cobb Vanth, Disabling Fang Fighter, and Consortium Star Viper, just your good 3 drops. Star Viper you can also play on turn 1. That's a great call, sort of into aggro. If they go ground, you can go space, and then if you can maintain the initiative, you can get that Restore 2 off starting in round 2, which is it's just really good. I mean, come on. If not, it can just be a 3/1 in space that costs 2 for you, and trade with an A-Wing or something like that. Trade with pretty much any turn 1 spaceship, I guess. Or if you don't go the 3 drop route, you can play K2 for 3, make him a 4/2. If they have something that'll trade favorably into him in the ground arena, probably don't do that. If they're going heavy space, well, that's probably a good call. And then you can also just either Han Solo ability out a Marine or an A-Wing, and then play Marine, A-Wing, or Gunship, right? Get 2/2 drops on turn 2. That's not bad. You can split your lanes and whatnot, and just sort of play to what your opponent plays. Sort of play around them, and you're an aggro deck, so maybe lane dodge a little, right? That's kind of the thing aggro decks do. But turn 2, just see what your opponent does on turn 1, and if they have the initiative, turn 2, just sort of play around that. And okay, this is where it gets fun. He's back. He is back. Superlaser Tech in Han Solo is back. When I saw this Han Solo spoiled, I thought, man, what units do you want to get out for a little cheaper and immediately do damage to him? Man, I wonder. Oh, Superlaser Tech on turn 3 for 4 resources. You're telling me I can just, ink him and ready him? And then, I'm on 5 so I can flip Han and I still got a resource up? Man, I was ECLing him for 5 back in the day, and now I get to do it for 4? Man, come on. Come on. Thank you. So, and that's sort of been kind of a strong play. Ramp is good, believe it or not. So, this Super Laser Tech guy in this Han Solo deck is really strong, especially when you're paying 4 instead of 5. 5 was questionable, especially going into set 2 where there's 2 sets of cards. 5 is questionable, but 4 and kill it right away, man, take my money. So we're looking to play that Super Laser Tech on 4. And then with that extra resource, we can play Infiltrator Skill, which I love. Get around the, the, the Sentinel, go through the shields, or play a Hotshot Blaster on. Those are cards probably going to play on Leader Han or maybe another unit you have out. They're just great to put on Leader Han to make him either a 4/7 or a 5/6. Make him get some good stats. Obviously, don't run yourself into a Power of the Dark Side. Oh, speaking of, if you want to hard cast the Super Laser Tech, that's a good counter against Power of the Dark Side. As I've touched on in previous videos if you've been with the channel for a minute. Or, you can play Reckless Gunslinger. She's also a good 1-drop. I really wish, in this particular version of Han, that there was a card like, I don't know, Greedo, a 3/1 1-drop that you could play, but that is yet to come out for red or green. As far as I know, unless there's a card that's spoiled or whatever that I missed or something. Then definitely throw that in the deck. Chicky D, the editor here, I realized watching back and editing this video that you can just use that one resource along with Han's ability after he flips to play something like a Battlefield Marine as a 3/1 1-drop or an A-Wing, which is effectively a 3/1 1-drop. So do that. But this is great. Laser Tech, ramp up, get ahead of them. That is absolutely awesome. And then Man, it just keeps getting better. We already have our great turn 1 play with Cobbvant that's gonna give us all the information we need. Our turn 2 play is, it's nothing great, but, you can get some good cards out there. If you want, you can throw that new Cassian unit in there just as a nice, 3/5, 3-drop, and then you have a smuggle thing in case you ever get up a creek without a paddle. That's also good. I was even experimenting with resupply, but it just seems a little much, resupply, and then if you draw your laser tech, then you're kind of, they're fighting for that same thing. If you like resupply though, you can throw it in there. I'm not gonna tell you not to. You could do what you want. So look at this, Poe and Wrecker. At first, I was throwing ECL, or rather Battalion to go with the ECL, but then I'm like, that is absolutely pointless nowadays. Just ECL Poe. In these colors, it's pointless. ECL Poe or ECL Wrecker. Poe one-shots a Darth Vader and lives. You can defeat an upgrade like the Darksaber they played on their Sabine. You can make them discard a card from their hand if they're playing Han1, which that's going to be brutal against Han1, or just smack their base. That's good. This Poe, Legendary Poe, right now, in my opinion, is best card in the set. Bar none, dare I say. Probably going to be the most expensive because he's a legendary. Definitely going to be the most expensive legendary. I suppose maybe he's not like a Snoke, like a big high drop or whatever. But this Poe is insane. And then Wrecker, a 7/6 with Overwhelm. And when you play him, you can smash a ground unit for 5. I mean, you look at that new Jabba leader, ECL this guy into Jabba leader and kill the Jabba leader. That's pretty good. And then to take back the guy that they captured, if you or you could just, however you want to play it, right? This Wrecker's good. Like the thoughts in my mind are like, oh, look, you can do this, this, this. I've already thought about this, and I'm still thinking of new ideas. In case you can't tell, there's quite a bit of excitement in my voice and sort of pep in my step, just because this is so good. I mean, this is why you play these colors, right? So this is broken, dare I say. Let's move on. You probably already knew it was broken, but I'm gonna tell you again. Uh, Turn 5 and beyond, assuming, of course, we get like the laser tech ramp. Black one, obviously great to follow up Poe Dameron. You can just dump your hand and then play a black one and get it back. And then black one is also great, along with the Archie-10's assault cruiser, Arquidens, Archie-10. I don't know, the big ship with ambush is what we're gonna call it. Those are great because if you just want to go space, if they got the ground locked up, drop those things in space and you can do a bunch of great things there. And I'm gonna get this down. Arquiten's assault cruiser is a great play against the Slave One. If you get that ramp off before their Boba Fett, before they get ramp off in Boba Fett, like you get ramp and they don't, you can then Han ability this, smack their Slave One and still live, ink their Slave One for you, and shut them down pretty good. It's a good, even though it's 8 and the Slave One is a 6-drop. With the ramp with Han's ability, you can get this out on the same turn and just crush their hopes and dreams. U-wing reinforcement. Um, do I need to explain? I mean, yes, you don't get to cast it for 6, and you're probably going to miss out on Han's ability unless you're playing something else. It's great. It can go wide against the control decks, which is great. It gives you play into either arena. There's a bunch of great targets with U-wing, like K2, Marine's great. You can go find a Fang fighter. You can even just get a black one and do the black one shenanigan, right? And then the big daddy of them all, the thing that honestly really makes this deck sing is the Crate Dragon. If you ramp and then you can get this out for 1 cheaper, effectively on the 7-drop turn, where they're playing like a Maul or something puny like that, you can play this Crate Dragon as a 10/8. And if you can get that out before they play their Maul, oh man, that happened to. I was playing Captain Shikaka and I got this Crate Dragon out. And I'm like, I bet you got a Maul in your hand, don't you? And he was like, maybe. So this Crate Dragon is crazy. If they vanquish it, bam, that's 5 damage to base. You're not feeling terrible about that. And it's just great. I mean, what else do you got to say about the Crate Dragon? The Crate is great. And so your top end's awesome. You have big ships, you have big dragons. You're an aggro deck, so you might even defeat them before this. You get your big stuff out. But Han just ramps so fast. I think it's more of like a ramp aggro deck. Um, but it gives you play into whatever you wanna play against. Like, this Han, it's just crazy. I think he's S tier, as I mentioned earlier in the video, and this is your top end. This is a great top end. Like, I don't know how else to put it, and, once you deploy Han, if you upgrade him and whatnot and he stays out, you can just play a bunch of things for cheaper. But even hard casting this Crate Dragon for 9 is just still good. Like, they wanna Avenger him, okay, take 9 to base, they're probably dead, right? You pump out some early damage and, get damage off, like, K2SO and your Gunslinger, and you're sitting pretty. So, that is it. That's all I got to say about Han as of right now. I think this is gonna be a series on the channel if you wanna see more. Um, Han2, How to Han2, I did a How to Han Solo couple videos. Kind of got bogged down with school assignments and moving out of college after the year ended, so I didn't get as many videos out as I wanted to with those. But if you want to see more of this how to Hantu content, I think it's inevitable just because I'm really excited about this Han. So, but let me know. Do you want to see specific matchups of how to play this Han into specific matchups? Do you want to see like a yellow shell, maybe a double red shell, a blue shell? Man, everyone's been throwing around these Wookiee decks, and I think this is a little better. Just me, but maybe the Wookiee deck is the way to go. Maybe I'll be eating my words come like store showdown time or whatever. But anyways, if you liked the video, like the video. If you didn't like the video, dislike the video. I mean, come on, we need the honest feedback, right? And this has been Chicky D for Crack Dice Gaming. If you want to see more, again, hit the subscribe. Let us know in the comments. I've said that about 4 times now. My brain is still spinning. Just I'm excited to make this video and pump out some more content for you guys. And as we say on Crack Dice Gaming, keep your blaster in your holster and don't be a meta slave unless it wins you a store showdown.